The second message that Haggai brought was in the 7th month, on the 21st day. So when we read these historical details, the dates, you might just see, okay, this has happened in this month, and then you move forward. But there is something hidden that God is speaking to these people here. The 7th month in the Jewish calendar is one of the very significant months for them, because there are 3 main festivals that Israelites are to celebrate. If you look at Leviticus chapter 23, you would see all these 3 festivals. In the 7th month, the Feast of Trumpets was celebrated, and people cannot work on that day. It has to be like a Sabbath. And then there was a Day of Atonement, where the high priest goes into the Holy of Holies and makes atonement for the whole community of Israel. And there should be no work. And then the third one, the Feast of Tabernacles, was celebrated 8 days long. For 7 days, they have to stay in the booths, being reminded of how their forefathers, when they left Egypt, stayed in the booths, in the wilderness. So God tells Israelites that they have to observe this, the Feast of Tabernacles, the Feast of Booths, so that they would be reminded of how their forefathers were in the wilderness as they were coming out of Egypt. The 7th month is full of festivals. And then this 7th month also coincided with Solomon's dedication of the temple. If you go to 1 Kings chapter 8, you see, and all the men of Israel assembled to King Solomon at the feast in the month Ethanim, which is the 7th month. During this time, in 1 Kings chapter 8, in the 7th month, he was bringing the Ark of the Covenant into the temple. And when the priests put the Ark of the Covenant in its inner sanctuary, the most holy of holies, and then you see verses 10 to 11, and when the priests came out of the holy place, a cloud filled the house of the Lord, so that the priests could not stand to minister because of the cloud, for the glory of the Lord filled the house of the Lord. When was this? In the 7th month. So the 7th month was the annual celebration of the dedication of the Solomon's temple. And they are being reminded during this 7th month when they were celebrating all these festivals. So the annual celebration of the Solomon's temple was also there. So they were remembering how glorious the first temple was, how beautiful, how gloriously the Lord filled this temple with His presence, with His glory. And now they look at the temple that was destroyed, the temple that lays in ruins. Anyone who imagines the former glory and sees the current destruction, how would they feel? Discouraged, right? It doesn't even look like anything compared to the old. The people were discouraged.